well, that means you've saved like thousands of innocent people. I mean, yeah, that's a way to think of it. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. This is a dense ass episode. There's a lot that happens in here to the point where I think, in a weird way, I feel like this episode kind of speeds up the process of how the rest of the season has sort of been slow and deliberate, which I like that pace. But this episode is so chock full of stuff to get from point A to point B so that we can set up for the finale, that I feel like some of this stuff could have been spread out in a few episodes prior. Like that last episode was a very, very singularly focused. I think some of this could have bled over to that. But here we are. So like any good dad, Dexter's finally going to tell the truth. And he sort of has a one-on-one with Harrison about what it is he does and what it is that Harrison's feeling with the dark passenger. They gave it a name. He's like, wait, what do you call him that? This urge to kill. He basically goes down the gamut. Up to a point, though. He does not tell Harrison about the slides or the ritual of that or the actual part of killing. He just says, I handled it, and they went away. He makes it seem like he more so scared them straight by tying them up in plastic bags and all that stuff. He just doesn't go all the way with him. Part of it is because the Deb, good conscience, came in like, don't give him this much information. But I just feel like in the way that Harrison is, he's going to ask enough questions to be like, these people were serial killers. They're not just going to go away. Then Dex does go clean up. I was concerned about someone else finding the body of Kurt's crony, but he does go clean that body up. And a weird montage of a Christmas. It plays pretty funny, but a weird montage of a Christmas song sort of just plays overlays as he disposes of the body. And the body, sort of a gift, because it's been there long enough that it's frozen that he can cut it up without blood being all over the place. So it's a easier cleanup for Dex. The next day, Dex has bought Harrison quite a few gifts to kind of be in the spirit of Christmas. Harrison seems to have sort of had a weight lifted off of him. He seems a lot happier. They exchange, well, he gives them gifts. He gives them an ugly sweater to sort of hide in disguise in plain sight. He says we need to start doing things that make us seem more normal so that when we do have our urges or dark passengers, we can kind of play to both sides. It's a way of sort of grooming Harrison, sort of show him the tricks of the trade, hence the reason why this is called the family business. He is giving him tips and clues in enough time so that his brain kind of processes instead of hitting him all with it at once. He also buys him a gun, a hunting gun, which also doesn't seem like a good idea, but again, in the spirit of keeping everything sort of as normal as everybody else in this world, it makes sense for him to have them. And Harrison is like, is this what you use to kill or trap people? It's like, nah, I'm not a good shot. That's messy. Dex finally lets Harrison know that Kurt's not a good person and that he has been hurting women, and that is why Kurt was coming after him, was sort of to get back at Dex sort of for knowing information. Harrison's just like, well, now that we know, we have some info, why don't we go to Angela and tell her what's going on? And Dex is like, well, do you want to explain how I was just creeping around vigilante style around this place? And it just causes too many questions. And Harrison's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I can buy that. Sure. Meanwhile, while they're having their family bonding experience, Angela's going further down that rabbit hole of Bay Harbor butchering. She's looking up old crime scene photos there's just a lot of information that you can easily get on Google. That is the one thing that I think this... Look, I know you can look up stuff. I just don't know if you can look up police records and police like body autopsies and body parts online. And maybe there's a police registry that you can go to for that. But it just seems very simple for her to just be this very backwoods police officer. It's a little too convenient to be this backwoods police officer able to do everything from a computer as opposed to always going to the sites. There's some things she can do in town to find information on, but the stuff that she's getting about the Bay Harbor Butcher, it's very convenient. But in that, the next thing that the Morgans are to do is to go have a Christmas dinner with Angela and Andrea. Boy, that's gonna be awkward. And they exchange gifts and Andrea notices how Harrison is happy and that there's a weight lifted. This is all that, we've said this all season, this is all that Harrison wanted, was to sort of be loved and kind of heard and seen by his father or by someone. He could actually have someone to talk to that don't think that he's batshit crazy when he has these conversations of thoughts. Although, he's batshit crazy when he has these conversations and thoughts. Kurt shows up at Angela's place with a little housewarming, with a little gift for them, knowing good and well that both Harrison and Dex would be there, and he sort of gets a little tip like, I would love to be able to spend my Christmas with my son a lot like you are spending yours with them. And then he leaves, and Harrison and Dex kind of hide it. They got to get out of there. They got to get out of there fast. Angela and Andrea's like, well, that's weird. And Angela sort of keeps covering up for Dex, more so to not blow her cover of her stuff, because I think Andrea's so close with Harrison that she may say something to him that may get back up. So she wants to kind of just keep this clean so that they're separate. So those two hightail it out of there, and they kind of go search for clues because they would like to go after Kurt, but they, based on the code that Dex is sort of teaching Harrison, they don't have enough information yet to kind of not fully invest in capturing him and killing him, or as Dex has Harrison believing, capturing and releasing, because that makes sense. So due to this threat, they go and the drone that Kurt bought Harrison comes sort of into play here. So they are out with the drone flying around sort of the area to sort of see if there's anything that sticks out enough where Kurt may be using it, specifically around the area where he kind of just disappeared because it was just a little too easy. We talked about this from the last episode where it's like all of a sudden it just disappeared. He clearly knows something there, so that's where they're sort of searching. While they're doing that, they're also having a heart-to-heart. Harrison informs Dex that he did lie about Ethan and that he did set it all up to try to become a hero. And Dex, he just took it. He didn't get mad. He's like, I know. Harrison asked, how did he know? And he's like, well, I was a police forensic scientist, the blood spatter. And he's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. He's like, I apologize for being a dick in that moment because you were right. In that, Harrison also sort of informs Dex that I don't feel like the story that you gave me about Wiggles feels complete. There needs to be more to it. I mean, he disappeared. It's like, I feel like you should have killed him, basically. Because he says, I have these urges that I want to go and kill Trinity Kill. Like, I feel like I want to do that for him. So then they find the little spot that looks uneven, kind of where he disappeared to. They find that, and Harrison's ready to go get it now. And Dex's like, remember the code. We can't be seen. We can't get caught. So let's come back and do this at night. So they do that. Dex has to call Angela to sort of get out of the dinner date that they were going to have because they were going to go back over there. So that gets canceled. Give some blood moon searching hiking excuse. Sure. At that point, Angela doesn't care because she's like, I don't want to be around you. You keep kissing me and saying you love me, and I think you're a murderer. So go do whatever you need to do. Angela, in her great detectiveness as well, goes to see about the ketamine. So she wants to go to the veterinarian of this little town and kind of tracks the ketamine samples that have been sold. And for a while there, she thinks that, she's a bit relieved that, like, Jim's name's not on there. There's 3 people that are on there. And then all of a sudden, she's like, nope, Jim's on there for a goat that doesn't have. And that sort of freaks her out. She then goes home and starts listening to some of the Molly podcasts about the Bay Harbor Butcher. And she's fully engulfed into it. And then she has to give Molly a call, probably to get some more information, a little bit more backup information on it. Molly doesn't answer. For reasons that, shout out to Sheena, who was a viewer of the channel. Thank you. You pointed it out to me. I don't know how I didn't put these together, but yeah, we sort of see the writings on the wall for what the outcome is with Molly, which we'll get to shortly. So then we have this board sort of cat and mouse of who's going to blink first. Kurt is at Dexter's home, Jim's home, as far as he's concerned, and he has set it on fire, and he's trying to get them to come out, so he has a scope on them and just take them out as they exit the home. But they're not there. They have already made their beeline to his secret hideout to look at things, and they are entering in upon his shrine room. One thing here that is a little bit out of character. I get it in that he is trying to upset Kurt and trying to get him to basically get on the run. He's done this before, but when you're dealing with tech, this becomes a bit disconcerting because Harrison and Dex see the trigger that is like if they step on it, it's going to cause the camera to come on and start recording and notify Kurt. They still set it off. And Harrison's like, well, why? And that's why. So it's to make sure that Kurt is aware that they're in there. and then he can start like flee because that's what he's going to do. But now he's on camera. There's visual evidence of at least Harrison. The shot that we saw didn't have Dex in it, but we know that Dex is in there too. But Harrison for sure is on there. That's a problem. Again, I've said at the beginning of this, I feel like Dexter is a man who does not exist with tech. He's done all of this stuff without tech being a problem, and now tech seems to probably be the way the story is going to undo this. It's just it may not come up, but it's just a sloppy way to sort of do that to get his attention. Kurt starts beelining it and gets freaked out. He's like, oh crap, I gotta go, and basically starts to get on the run. Harrison and Dex are in that shrine room, and they start seeing what I have always said, what I thought a while ago when he started draining the blood, is that he's keeping these women as trophies. Sort of like people put deer and horses and horse heads on there. So he's keeping these women enshrined in boxes, which is why he was so upset that the one that he shot in the face messed up, because he can't really display her properly because she's a little bit disfigured. But he has all these women in these white angelic-ish robes and on display, and then we see the box of Molly that he's already gotten to, and it's at that point that Harrison says, "Oh, this motherfucker gotta die. Like he gotta die. I don't know what you were doing before, but he gotta die." And he asks him like, "Hey, yo, dad, real talk, you killed Wiggles?" And Dad's like, "Yeah, I killed that man." And so a sort of closer bond forms, and he's like, well, we gotta go kill Kurt, and they go do it together. While this was happening, Angela's doing a little bit more research because Molly not returning calls or calling as much as Molly is sort of like the pit bull or the little dog yipping at Angela. It's weird that she's just not responding. So she goes to see where she was staying, and they say she's checked out. But they look in the safe that's in her room, and her camera, audio recording microphone are still in there. Something that Molly would never leave without. So that gets Angela's wheels turning again. Again, I don't have a problem with her being this good of a detective. It's just things are happening so quickly that it's like, okay, how is she getting? She's only one person. She doesn't have anybody else on her team helping out with this. She's just doing all of this from either the comfort of her computer by looking up old stuff, and anything that she's having new. It just moves really quickly. So they use the 1-2 combo, get your attention, stab you with the ketamine punch that Dex and Harrison use, and they capture Kurt. And they take him back to the shrine room, which, as you know, if you've been following us all the time, they usually put the killer on the table in the place, if they can, in the place of where they do the majority of their killing, but also to sort of show them all the things that he's done. And so no better place than do it in the shrine room. It's also pretty hidden and secluded. Dexter has him all wrapped up, and he does keep giving Harrison these moments. He's like, hey, you can check out. If you don't want to be here, you can leave. I get it. If you don't want to be here, you can leave. I get it. Probably the only fatherly thing that he's really doing in this situation. And so the typical crack, wake up, and Kurt and them have sort of a conversation. Kurt is surprised that they're both there. He's like, I wish I had a fatherly son thing like this. And again, what I always sort of said is that Harrison did not follow the MO of everything else. So it was clearly based on revenge with that, which we get out here. And Kurt lets on that, like, hey, your father didn't tell you the reason why I was coming after you is because he killed Matt. And then Dex is like, Matt broke the code. He killed 5 people and Kurt covered up for him. It's this whole sin of the father and son. Like, it's a lot of lineage stuff happening there because while Kurt's dad helped mold Kurt and Kurt helped mold Matt, Dexter is doing that to Harrison now. And even though he's not there, Harry has done that to Dex. So that's how this all sort of comes together. Just as Kurt is starting to sort of question the legitimacy of Dexter's code, like, wait, you consider yourself to be some type of vigilante? He covers his mouth. Dex gives Harrison one more time to get out of there. Harrison's sort of at the foot of Kurt, kind of just watching, thinking, asking questions, but he doesn't leave. And Dex kills Kurt in front of Harrison. And the blood starts kind of sprouting out. He asks him again, are you okay after the kill? Harrison's still fine. It's not until the blood starts sort of pouring closer to him, sort of triggering the look and feel of how it was in the bathtub when he was a kid, that he kind of, I just need some air. So he goes up and gets some air. I'm thinking he's out. Like, I'm thinking at this point, this isn't the stuff that's built for him. But I was wrong. He just needed some damn air. Because we go up and Dex starts handling the body. We're like, hey, can you put these in the car? And then they go take it to the incinerator and burn it. And while they're there, Harrison starts saying, hey, we just saved a bunch of girls doing this. And Dex is like, and this also satiates that dark passenger. So we've done something good, and we have quelled or calmed down that passenger. All in all, a good day's work, right? Like we've done well. And Harrison's like, I like that. This is cool. I can do this. So remember when I said that Kurt set that place on fire and was going to try to smoke them out and shoot them? He also didn't stop the fire. So when Harrison and Dex return home, their entire home has been engulfed in flames and is gone. They arrive back home to see that their home is gone and that the fire and rescue team and police are there. Angela has been trying to reach Dex all night, which is probably going to come back to bite him. They asked that he never answered the phone, but he did give the excuse of looking at the blood moon. She starts questioning about his whereabouts and the time that he left and all of this stuff, which Dex has a pretty good answer for consistently, but Angela wasn't going to be done until Andrea comes over with Harrison's like, oh, they got to stay with us. They have to stay with us. Not really giving them a choice, sort of self-inviting them. Jim does say, hey, like, we can go at the end, but they're not really having that. They go back to Angela's and Andrea's home and start getting breakfast and whatnot. While they all go in, Angela sees a note in the mailbox that is addressed to her. She opens it, and it's just a letter that says Jim Leland killed Matt Caldwell. And then it has a bunch of the screws that were in the pins that were in Matt Caldwell's leg, to sort of give her a bone to go check that. Which eventually she may even check. I don't know how long it takes bodies to decompose or catch on fire in this, but she may find something about Kurt in there as well. If she gets there quick enough, if that leads her there fast enough. But Jesus, this not only did he take one shot across the bow to Dexter when burning down his home, he gave him another one and be like, story's not over. You may kill me, but we ain't done here. All in all, really a solid episode. A little fast-paced. There's a lot of things that happen that I feel like some of the story could have existed in a previous episode to sort of space this out and give things a little bit more time to breathe. But I do like that I like, love, and also hate and am disgusted by this grooming of the family business and Dex sort of passing his lineage on to Harrison. It's a terrible thing, but it's a good thing for story. It also sucks that now that we've sort of gotten this dynamic vigilante duo put together, that we are now going to watch an episode of Angela actively trying to tear them apart. More so trying to take out Dexter. She has no idea about Harrison. I think that's what's going to come to bite her. I feel like now that he knows the code, now that he knows the setup, I feel like Harrison may go against the code to protect his dad, because the one person who now listens to him and knows him is now in a lot of trouble. And I think the one person who can kind of eliminate that a little bit is Harrison. And Harrison may do so knowing good and well that he's going to end up harming and hurting the girl that he cares about in Andrea. So he may have this back and forth where he gets sort of torn, but I feel like Harrison is going to probably make a decision that completely impacts his life for the betterment of Dex. Really well done episode overall. I enjoyed it. It is very intense and getting me excited about this cat and mouse thing that we're going to have sort of within the finale. Again, Angela getting to these breadcrumbs so fast is a bit odd, especially like this backwater. Everyone's like this backwoods, this detective, but she's good. And it's going to be an interesting brain of her, somebody who she was in love with, versus the brawn of Dexter, and sort of this third tier of Harrison sort of like deciding how this all should be playing out. I am interested to see, because there are so many people still available, and because she has been Googling, or whose account she's been using. Something's been going on with that. Like, it's just too simple of that someone from that Miami team, whether it be Batista or whomever, may show up to sort of like, oh yeah, that's Dexter. And then sort of just let the rest of it sort of fall into play. I do love that they are saying finale. It's not saying series finale or season finale. It's just saying finale, like where this is it. This is sort of be treating as a one-off. So I think whatever we get is going to be pretty conclusive in this finale. I just wish that if that were the case, we spent a little bit more time with them being a duo or teaching him the ropes before we get to this finale episode where kind of just all hell is about to break loose. So those are my thoughts. What did you think about episode 9 of Dexter New Blood, The Family Business? Go ahead and leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name that's on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that plays podcasts. We're there. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.